Hello everyone. In today's episode, I'm joined with Folashade, and in today's episode, we're gonna be we'll be speaking about autism as it is Autism Awareness Month for this series. And her daughter has autism, and it's gonna be really interesting to hear it from like a mother's point of view, and how it is for her as well. So thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, Mason.
Yeah, yeah, it's gonna be really interesting. Because I know we spoke before about like I'm autistic as well, so it could be like I suppose helpful if you have any questions for me. But it's gonna be really nice hearing about like you, like, I suppose how you deal with things, but maybe talk about a little bit about diagnosis side of things, and yeah.
Mhm.
So if you could just to start with, you maybe talk a little bit about you, explain who you are, a little introduction.
Okay, I am Folashade Dan Oketola, and I live in Finland. I've got two beautiful daughters. I'm married, and I've got two beautiful daughters. One of them is autistic, and we got her autism diagnosis at about 4 years, when she was about 4 years old. And that's when the journey really started with supporting her to be able to be the best that she can be. And interestingly, we didn't quite see some of the signs on time because she didn't go to daycare until she was 3. And being the first girl, it was so easy to miss the signs as I mean, we weren't comparing her to anyone. It was just her. So it was when she then moved to the daycare from home and had to mix with the other kids that the symptoms became apparent and very obvious. And that's how we started the process of assessment and eventually getting her, the diagnosis, and then the support started officially.
Yeah, yeah. Do you feel it was a long time to get her for a diagnosis of autism? Like with the process.
Well, with the way it works in Finland, I would say that the waiting process it took about a year. I mean, the whole of the assessment took about a year. So although we started just around the time she was 3, we didn't quite get it until she was almost 4. But then what happens here is that there is an early intervention program. So although you're still going through the assessment and waiting for the official diagnosis, there is someone who starts to work with the family to support the child. And if I have to translate it to English, it's like a developmental counselor. So she steps in and starts to support the family and the child using, simple methods, um, support the child's speech, and also in terms of some of the behavioral support that the child might need. So that's what kind of makes it easier because we had the early intervention whilst we were waiting for the official diagnosis.
Yeah, yeah. It's good. Like you got one. Because I know it can take a while. With like having tests and going constantly to appointment and trying to fight
Mm-hmm.
to get seen, to get heard and stuff like that. But yeah, it's really interesting that you said you're from Finland because I don't believe I've spoken to someone from Finland before, so that's nice
Okay.
to hear from I suppose a point of view over in Finland.
Mm.
But 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 for the diagnosis, like what was you aware what autism was before she was diagnosed?
Yes, I was. But like I said, I didn't quickly notice the signs, but when the signs began to show, and that was when I started to think that, okay, this really looks like autism. But I didn't conclude yet. But interestingly, but because what I said, because of the signs that I was saying, and because I had a bit of understanding about autism already,
Mhm.
so I sort of expected it. I expected it when when the signs came, like she wouldn't mix with other children, She wanted to be by herself. She had certain toys she wanted to play with. So, all those signs already made it clear that I knew already that this is autism, like this is likely what we're going to get. But it wasn't quite the same with my husband, who had no idea what autism was before the journey started for us. And so it was like quite like that. And I remember that when I reached out to someone and I saw a video of someone and I reached out to her because I just wanted to be able to talk to someone, another parent. And the first thing she asked me is your daughter diagnosed? I said, not yet, but we are in the process. But I sort of know already that she is autistic.
Yeah. It's good that you did know, because I know not all parents do at that stage know about autism before you actually see the signs and get diagnosed. So I thought that was really helpful for you, and just to, so something's not right here. Getting diagnosis does help with support as well in schools as well. Yeah, I think it's good that you were on the ball, I think, there, because if you're not, the process, I suppose, even though a year is, I suppose, very slow for a diagnosis, but it's pretty fast compared to some people's a year, because sometimes people don't get diagnosed. Like, I think nowadays you see people more as an adult have to get a diagnosis of autism. And I spoke to someone that was in their 40s and they got diagnosed with autism, and I was speaking to them, I spoke to her, and I also presumed that she knew what autism was, because it was, as an adult, and for being 40, and she didn't know until she was diagnosed, and I was surprised, because yeah, like back when I was diagnosed, you find quite a lot of people my age were getting diagnosed, and it's interesting.
How old were you when you were diagnosed?
I was 9 when I was diagnosed.
Okay.
That would have been in 2009. And yeah, it was probably about a similar time to you, but well, not to you, to your daughter. The process and stuff. Go to London, a Great Ormond Street Hospital. I went to have tests done. Don't all remember it very well, but I know I was diagnosed and had autism. Yeah, I was 9.
Okay.
Yeah, but with you, like, how was you when she was diagnosed with autism?
It was two things actually, because I would be honest that at first I was worried. And why I was worried is because although I knew that it was autism before the diagnosis came, but what I knew about autism, then isn't quite what I know now. So the first thing that I experienced was fear. I was worried. I was concerned that, oh my God, how is this going to be? How is she going to be? Is she going to be totally dependent on us? Because that's, the part of autism that I knew at the time. And so the things I knew about autism at the time was such that it created fear in me rather than, so I didn't quite see any positive side I didn't have any positive expectations immediately. So, but it then took me trying to read more and then to research more, to ask more questions, and to start to see, okay, what is the future likely to look like for her? So that's when it started to get easier. So, acceptance wasn't instantly, but then acceptance for me was a lot faster than my husband, because like I said, he was hearing about autism for the first time. So he at first was just like, no, I think she's just taking out, she's just taking her time. There's nothing wrong with her. He didn't want to see it or accept that something, I mean, yeah, like, I mean, with what I know now, I wouldn't say something, was wrong or is wrong, but, because of the kind of knowledge that you have about something, then it sort of affects how you see it. So acceptance was faster for me than for my husband, but I still experience fear and concern. But one of the things that really helped me is, one of the processes we had to go through was having to, first of all, have a conversation, like a meeting with a psychologist who, wanted to talk to me about the process. How are you feeling about, this and all of that? And yes, I expressed my concerns because there is also the part of self guilt, like the self blame. Was it something I did wrong? Was it one time that she fell down? Was it one time, so you just want to be able to pin it to something. And you just don't want to accept that nothing causes it. You understand my point. So
Mhm.
I passed through all of that stage first, trying to have a reason for why she was getting the diagnosis. But of course, now I know better. I mean,
Yeah.
it's been years now, so I know better now, and I realized that yes, my concerns were valid, but it is also because of what I knew at the time.
Yeah. How long ago was it when she was diagnosed?
Well, now she's 7 now, so she was that would have been almost 4 years.
Okay.
Almost 4 years, yeah.
Okay. And does she know that like she has autism and like really?
No, I don't. No, she doesn't. She
Okay.
doesn't.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. And like, do you find that hard, like when like to tell her that she's got autism because of like what she might think and stuff?
At the moment, it isn't even like it's not a conversation that I have thought about of talking to her about, and that's because I don't think that she's quite ready,
Yeah.
or I mean, at this time, I don't think she understands yet.
Mm.
Yes, I know that she would, of course, know that she's quite different from other kids. She probably knows herself that she does things differently from other kids, but it's not yet a conversation that I think she will understand right now. So, but I think when we get to that point that I'm sure that she will understand it, we will have that conversation. But otherwise, we treat everything like normal as it should be. So she probably, and that's another reason why she might not see herself quite like differently, because we kind of normalize everything that she does. I don't know if you get my point. So we are
Yeah.
not treating her like, oh, something is wrong with you, so you have to be like this. No, there's no exclusion in any way. Thing. There's no, so she still gets included, but in a way that is suitable for her.
Yeah. 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 I know what you mean. Like when I was diagnosed, I possibly got told. I don't remember actually. I think it was pretty soon, but I I didn't accept having autism, so I didn't really understand it myself. So I know what you mean. Like it's also kind of your choice, really, isn't it? Like if you want to do it now or you want to do it later. Like
Mm,
but as long as some point she understand at some point, I suppose. Um,
mhm.
but for me, I didn't it took me a while to kind of accept having it and like maybe having extra support than other people, thinking, yeah, I'm gonna be having extra support and some people are not. Um, but yeah, it takes a while. I suppose you've got to be confident as well. Talk about it and if she wants to, maybe at some point, like when she feels ready or when you feel ready to have that conversation, um, just to like reassure her that it's nothing bad, it's good. Um, like it's a good thing because you get extra support. You get like with autism. Although
Mm,
you may have support, you'll be good with different things. Like
mm-hmm.
she might like dancing. I don't know. She might like dancing.
Yeah.
And then she'll be really good at dancing, and maybe not so good at something else. Maybe
But
maybe
yeah.
maybe football, for example. Um, but
Mm,
but but yeah, it's just a lot of autism goes with your what your interests are, and yeah, what your personality is like and stuff.
yeah. I agree with you because and that's one of the things we've also tried to do, which is to focus or to put more attention on her strength while at the same time supporting her in the areas where she still needs to catch up. You understand? So she, for instance, would know that, oh, she's very good at these things because she sees how we let her see that, I mean, these are things that she's really good at. And so we give her a lot of support in that area, at the same time supporting her. And which is a good thing because, and one of the things I realized also is by showing her strength and also by talking about her strength, it also educates. I have an African background, so the experience also with the community might not be quite the same as you have
Hmm.
or your parents had. You understand? So
Yeah,
there's also that factor in it. So by projecting and showing the positive sides, the things that she's very good at, that are sort of beyond her age. So there's that marvel that, oh, so she's autistic and she can do this already. So that when the part where she needs support then shows, it sort of balances out. I don't know if you get my point. So
hmm,
there is that need to also show that autism isn't just about the negatives, because that's the narrative in a lot of communities. So there's still that stigma, and there's still that culture of not wanting to talk about your child's diagnosis because you fear that they will be subjected to stigmatization or exclusion, or all of those things that come with it, not just the child, even the parents as well. So that's what we've tried to do to showcase her positive side.
yeah, yeah. Like it is difficult. It's difficult, I suppose. In every country, things are done differently.
Mm,
Like the
mm,
support systems and stuff. Like over here, probably different to where you are. In Finland. Like how everything's done, how it's processed. Like I suppose I spoke to someone the other day and a bit like worried about the future, what the future could hold and stuff. Like with your daughter, what type of autism does she have? Is it like high functioning or low functioning? Um, yeah, what kind?
okay, well, with the way it is here in Finland, they don't use the three system of high functioning or
Okay,
low, or the 1 to 3. No, it's so she just has is that like childhood autism, basic. Like if I'm doing direct translation from Finnish to English, so it's just basically childhood autism, and that's it. So
okay,
there is no grading to it. So what the judge just do is assess the child, and then the child gets all the support that they need based on the doctor's report, that shows, okay, this is the child's strength, and these are the areas where the child still needs lots of support. And then they give the child the required support. So there really isn't that grading of whether she's high functioning or she's low functioning, but just focus on what
yeah,
she needs help with, and giving her that support. And if I must say, with all of the things that I know in Finland, I think Finland has really done quite well. So I am not too worried, about her future, if I must be honest. I'm not too worried because if things are still the way that they are, and I can only imagine that it will get better, the support is there. Yes, the waiting period can't be long because we waited almost a year before we got a speech therapist. Even after getting the diagnosis, it took like a year before we could get a speech therapist to work with her. So sometimes the waiting period is long for the services, but
yeah,
when you eventually get the service, it is worth while, and you can be sure that the child is going to get, what they really need. And as they grow up as well, they're depending on the age, there's still different supports that they get based on their age and what it is that they need.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that is really interesting. Like how it's done over in Finland than over here, because like you said, you don't have like it's just autism. It's not high or low. Just you call it autism. So let's put it another way. What does your daughter struggle with? I suppose in a day-to-day basis.
Okay, well, the biggest struggle that she has or has had would be communication.
Yeah.
So that was one of the things that was like the biggest struggle for her to be able to communicate, both ways, either to be able to express herself and also to understand when you are telling her something and you need her to understand what you've said. So that's like the highest sort of support that she really, really needs. And but of course it gets better. It's gotten a lot better than it used to be. And I must also say that because she also is a child that is exposed to 3 different languages. We speak 2 languages at home, and then she speaks a different language at school. So I think that, also contributes to the delay that she has experienced with speech. I mean, there's the autism and there's the fact that there are multiple languages. So that's one of the biggest struggle that she's had to deal with communicating. But now she's able to understand a lot better, and she's able to use the languages, sometimes like she like interchangeably. So sometimes she wants to say something, so she would use the language that is most easiest for her to express herself. So which is, I think, is a brilliant thing, because I mean, it is quite easy to be exposed to 3 languages and also being autistic. So it's a lot to deal with. But we've also tried to, you stick to 1 language at home for her.
Yeah.
But then again, because we speak the other language to ourselves, so somehow it's still in the household. We can't completely do away without it. She still hears it, even though we don't use it to communicate with her. So her biggest challenge at the moment is language, and then other little struggles here and there. For instance, when she has to steaming, for instance, like she has likes to hop around. So what we've also done is to redirect that. So she has like her bean bag and she has a mini trampoline at home. So she doesn't have to do that on the sofa. And there's some other struggles that we've had was at the time where she had pica, where she would put almost everything in her mouth, like things that aren't edible. She put them in her mouth, but that one now has reduced. It's like almost not there anymore. So that's about it. And of course, some other, struggles here and there, like you might understand, for instance, maybe dealing with not being able to wear certain clothes because of the fabric or the tags. There's also the one of the sensory issues, certain meals, she doesn't find them comfortable to eat. So, all those other things that come along with being an autistic person.
Yeah, that's really interesting, because that's really interesting, because to speak 3 different languages, that's tough for anyone if you're autistic or not.
It is. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what are the 3 languages then?
Okay, so it's English.
Yeah.
Then there is Yoruba, which is our native Nigerian language. And then there's Finnish, which is the official language in Finland. Finnish is the language in Finland. So she speaks Finnish at school, and then at home it's English and Yoruba.
Yeah. Is it at home more than one than the other, or is it kind of even?
Let's see. Well, I think when we are out of the house, it's more of Finnish. But when we are in the house, there's sort of a balance, because if I'm speaking with my husband, it's almost natural that I'll be speaking our native language. And then, but when I am speaking with the children, then we switch, like the switch is just there that you speak English to them. But they they hear or speak Yoruba to ourselves. But another thing is that, when the diagnosis came, to make it easier for her communication, we started to speak more of English than Yoruba. But somehow along the line, her interests, peaked, and she had by herself started to try to learn Yoruba. So now the things that are of interest to her are the things that she knows in Yoruba.
Well, it's really interesting, and yeah, is that quite recent, or what was it like when she was younger that she did learn these other languages as well?
Well, it's as she grows, I'd say that her interest in Yoruba sort of peaked last year. So there was this increase in wanting to learn Yoruba just last year. In fact, it's interesting that like early last year, I was still telling my friends that, oh, like she has refused to understand the language, that it's just less than 5 words that she really understands on the language. But along the line, she started to search for videos by herself. And so she's basically self-taught with the things that she knows. So there aren't even things that we have had to teach her, but there are things that she's had to learn by herself.
Okay.
By watching videos.
Yeah, that helps. Yeah, watching videos. Yeah, because I prefer that reading books or something like that, because lose conversation and that I lose it, and I think of other things than I'm reading a book. So audio is better for me, but yeah, that is very interesting that she knows 3 languages, because I know parts of other languages, like I don't know them languages, but a bit of French, oui. But yeah, like I suppose it's useful to learn languages anyway. Like, to say you're going to another country for a holiday, like you're speaking that language, so it's helping them out. And I think most countries do know English though, so English is a good one to learn. Because I think anywhere, well, most countries do speak English. But yeah, but it's nice that she has a little like pattern going, like at school you're speaking in Finland, at home your parent country, and English. So yeah, I think that's brilliant. That's then like well, always learning, I suppose, because there's all sort of words.
Exactly.
So you're probably still learning now. At home, maybe after school or something like that, it might be learning a couple more. But yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, she's constantly learning. Like every time she has her tablet, you can see her always searching for something, wanting to, so like she's constantly learning, and I think it's a beautiful thing. That's the good thing about autism, because when you have this interest, of course, sometimes it can be hyper focusing, but then it's also a good thing because it's coming from a place of wanting to know and being knowledgeable, because there are quite a lot of things that she knows, I've been at 7 that I know that some adults don't even know. And I think that's one of the beautiful things as well, because like we've had times where we traveled, and she's been able to have the opportunity to show some of the things that she really knows, and everybody's going, wow, wow, wow. Well, which is a good thing as well, because like I said, that having that knowledge sort of covers for the part where she's still struggling, at the moment. So it just sort of helps to balance things out, because when they know that, oh my gosh, she knows this. So even the things that she doesn't really know, it doesn't come off as, oh, why doesn't she know that? But from a place of, oh, she's going to know it at some point. So there's that understanding that comes with it eventually, when people realize that, she knows something.
Yeah. You're right when we say we're always learning, because I think everyone's learning all the time. Um, Learn new things, what happens all over the world, and I think it's great. That like hearing about different things that happen like in your country, Finland, and then over here in the UK. So it's very good like how different things work. Um, it's good that I suppose you're not worrying about the future for now. Um, I kind of see how that comes about and what happens there. But yeah,
Yes, we're taking it one day at a
yeah,
time.
yeah. And it's better that way. Even though worrying is part of life, isn't it? I suppose
True.
you've probably been worrying bits in there about like getting diagnosed and stuff like that, and
Hmm. Hmm.
fighting to get appointments, um, being on the ball. So yeah,
Mm.
that's been it's good. It's good to worry, I suppose, because if you don't, something's wrong. I think, yeah,
True. I mean, I think that's the thing. What I mean, worrying, but then making sure that it is healthy. We don't go over the board. I think I would think that every parent worries at some point about their child, even if they are not autistic. You're worrying, okay, how is my child going to cope at school? If your child is going to have big changes in their life, you sort of worry. I mean, that's what parents do, I suppose. But then, when you now have a child that is autistic, it might just be that you have an extra layer of worry as a parent compared with if your child didn't have any diagnosis at all. So I think that's what it is. There is the worry, but we just also learn to be positive about things and just be hopeful that she's going to be fine.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, have you like in your head had an idea like about maybe what age that you would like have that conversation with her about autism?
Hmm, not yet. But I'm thinking that let's see what it feels like. Because what I think, what I have in my head at the moment is that we might get to that point where she might start to see that, okay, well, that, when she comes to that self-realization, I think maybe that's the word I should say, use. So for now, for now, I must be honest, she's just like a free bird. She's
Yeah,
not worrying about anything. She's not seeing herself as worrying about anything. So literally, it's like we are the ones who is doing the worrying for her, who is saying the differences and all. She doesn't see that at all at the moment. So if there ever then is a time where she gets to that point that she starts to realize, that okay, I kind of do things differently. I don't like to do things this way. Why do I want to do things differently? Then yes, the conversation, I think that's when I would know that, okay, maybe now is a good time to have that conversation, because then there's a self-realization, then it makes it easier to then tell her that it is okay that you do things differently. But for now, she's just afraid, but she's not even worried about anything. So I just believe that it's okay to let things be at the moment. If she's not seeing herself differently, then it is fine for
mm,
now.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think that's you got a good plan there. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But yeah, like everyone's different. Like people do like parents do say straight away. Even if they probably don't understand, like choice, it's choice. Like but as long as like she has an idea of maybe of herself, or if she don't that she knows that she's autistic and she maybe need that little bit of help, um because over here being autistic is more of a good thing. It's more nowadays you get more good things than bad things about it, even though the bad things are good to talk about as well, what people don't understand. But have you been able to like meet many people like in Finland, for example, that or mums or people who have autism as well?
Not so much. How do I say this now? Not many adults yes, other moms I have met where our kids are about the same age group, but for adults, not so many. Well, maybe with other disabilities, yes, but not autism. Other disabilities, yes, but not autism. But I have also recently discovered two ladies who are autistic, actually autistic adults, and who are fiends. And but then they got diagnosed, as adults, not even as kids. So that's about it for now. But outside of Finland, oh yes, I have met quite a number of people like autistic adults.
Yeah.
So many, I mean, now that it is helpful. And and another thing I would suppose also has worked for me is that it is interesting, because talking about how I just said the ladies I discovered now who, got their diagnosis as adults, it is interesting because at the beginning of the journey for us, like I said, I was worried because of what I knew about autism. But as it progressed and as she started to grow and we started to understand it a lot more, it is interesting because she does so many things. And I would tell my husband that, oh my God, this is me as a child. Like I was exactly like that. There's so many things she does that just makes me have flashbacks. You understand? Like it always takes me back to myself as a child. And I'll just tell my husband that, oh my God, I did that. Like, like it's sometimes I'm like, this is spooky. Like, how, how, how is it that she does this exact same thing that I did as a child? So is this what it is? And so what I've then done is that I then look at myself and I'll be like, okay, if I was like this as a child, and I mean, there was no therapy or something at the time. Yes, it was difficult, honestly, if I must be honest, it was difficult not to have had that support because people don't quite understand how to deal with you because they don't understand why you are that way. But I think it's one of the things that also gives me hope for her, that if I mean, with being in an environment that I didn't quite understand why I was like that, and I mean, this is me now, then I have higher hopes for her. Although I didn't, how we stopped. You asked me about maybe the different level. Yes, like with the speech,
Yeah.
she needs more support than I did. I didn't struggle so much with speech like she does now. But other than that, there's so many other things that is just boom, exact.
Yeah. Do you sometimes wonder like how it came that she got like autism as well? Like, did you sometimes think like why has she got it, like autism, like in the first place? Do you sometimes wonder about that?
Oh, yes, I did. At the beginning, that's where I mentioned the self-blame.
Yeah.
So at the beginning, I wanted to be able to tell myself that the reason why she is autistic, because of the knowledge I had at the time, which was a bit biased. So I wanted to be able to tell myself that, oh, was it because I didn't eat something? Or was it because I ate so much of something when I was pregnant? Or was it because of one time she had a really huge fall, when she was trying to walk, to learn to walk from crawling to walking. So I wanted to be able to have that reason, like that's one reason to be able to tie to the diagnosis. But then when I started to read more, I realized that, okay, maybe not quite. And then the day that I also read and found out that, okay, that it could, I mean, that there could be, for some people, like there's no reason, but that it could be genetic. So when I discovered that it could be genetic, and then I was like, okay, just maybe there might be something there, because if I am seeing myself as a child a lot in her, then it is quite possible. And of course, when I mentioned it to my mom too, that, oh, so and there's this study. I mean, there are studies out there that shows that that autism can be genetic. She's like, okay, well, you were quite like that too as a child. So it's probably, if it is genetic, then it might just be linked to you. So,
Yeah.
so there is that.
I think it's good. Yeah, and like with like you said, you knew about autism beforehand. Is that what you did? Like, what made you do it before like your daughter was diagnosed? So what? Why did you kind of know of it in the first place?
Okay, how I got to know about it in the first place was because just before she was born, I was taking a course at the time, for early childhood care, to be a early childhood caregiver. So, and part of the curriculum was to know about childhood disabilities. So it wasn't just autism. So it was just learning about different kinds of childhood disabilities, of autism, ADHD, and so many other childhood disabilities. So autism was part of the things that I had to study at the time. So that's why I said them. So I didn't just wake up and decide that, oh, there's something called autism. So it was in the process of learning about childhood autism, childhood disabilities, that I then had to read about autism as well and learn about autism. So, but then again, the things that I had read, were just those things that made you feel like the child is going to be totally dependent and all of that. And also because the people that, while studying as well, the people you sort of see are just children, and some of them are the ones that really, really need lots of support. So it kind of sticks with you because, I mean, you are learning how to give support to those kind of children. So automatically, when you then hear that your child is autistic, the first thing that comes to your mind is, oh, is my child going to be such that she won't be able to do anything by herself? You understand?
Yeah,
But I think it's also a good thing because it then made me study further. So, I'd studied it at some point, but it that made me read more and, dig deeper to get a better understanding of what autism really is about.
yeah, I think that's great.
And yes, and I might just add that it is just also interesting that, when I look at it, that it is interesting how sometimes knowing something, like I think there's a place for knowledge to be able to work with other people, and then there's a place for lived experience where you are now living, you know that thing. So it's not just about, oh, what I read in the book or a research, but it is now about experience as well.
Yeah, yeah, because it's like anything, isn't it? I suppose autism as a subject. Let's say it's like a subject you learn about. It's like you're getting learned about English or something, or maths.
Mm,
And then you're learning about autism or something like that. And there's so many things to learn about it. So many different, yeah, lot of things about autism. It's not just this little thing. But like for example, noise could be annoying. You have sensory as well.
mhm,
Which I am, yeah, I am, because I don't like particular noises. So if I get irritated, and I don't like close contact. Um, so yeah, and the good thing is that everyone's different. I think everyone's different anyway. If you have autism or not,
yes.
but it's just that maybe if you're interested in maybe in something that you talk about a lot, and
Mm,
or you'll have more support, or there are places where you don't need support. You want to do it on your own. You wait to ask, and there is. What happened to me when I was younger, I needed the support, but I didn't ask for it because I didn't want people to think of me in a different way. Um,
mm, mm.
um, so yeah, it's it's good everyone's different anyway. If we're all the same, it'd be a bit mad, wouldn't it?
The world would be a boring place if we're all the same. And I like
Yeah,
the point where you made where, you said that even, I mean, we are all are different as human beings, but
yeah,
then being autistic as well, we must also remember that no two autistic people are exactly the same, because as much as I see a lot of myself as a child in my daughter, which sort of has made me think, consider if I should even, have myself assessed or not, because I still have certain struggles as an adult too, because, I have then had to read about what autism is in adulthood, because, before it was just what the focus for me was just childhood autism, what it is in a child. And I've had to read about what it can be when you're an adult. And I can relate with so many things. But it is interesting because as much as I know that I understand how my daughter feels in so many ways, we still are quite, for instance, have very high sensitivity to noise, but she likes the noise. Like
Oh.
she always so she's the type that always wants the sound. So she always wants the music. She always wants the sound. And sometimes she wants it, especially if it's something that she likes, she wants it at a really high volume. But then that is very disturbing for me.
Yeah.
Like I have very high sensitivity to noise, unlike her. And so, there is also that difference, even though you feel like, oh, we're quite alike, but then we're also not quite alike. You understand? But
Yeah.
so so that's one thing that we always have to remember, so that nobody then puts anyone in a box that, okay, so I know what autism is, so if the person is not exact, does not tick all these 10 things that I know about autism, then there's something isn't quite right. We must remember that even every autistic person is different from the next autistic person.
Yeah. You might get some similarities, maybe.
Mm.
Like like you'll maybe find something you're interested in that someone else will be interested in. You will find some people that won't be interested in it. And you may think, wait, what? I like this and you don't.
Yeah.
But yeah, like with the noise side of things, like for example, if someone's eating and making too much noise, and I won't like that.
Mm.
I think I don't make much noise. Why are you making more noise than me? Yeah.
Yes. Mhm.
But and then I like to go I'll say that, and then I'll in another noise setting I love to go into maybe a game, or I'll see a team I like to play and I'll cheer them on, and I won't mind the noise then. It's just those
Mhm.
different
Mhm.
bits, and people who don't understand may say, hang on a minute, you don't like the noise
Yeah,
of that's not as
that
loud as that. But
that's true.
but our brains work differently. Like like I won't like try to contact unless probably I've known you, or something like that. Even a handshake. um and yeah, but yeah, it's like noise is like everyone experiences differently. And yeah, it's interesting what different people like as you say, your daughter likes loud and like music. I like music as well. It kind of calms people
Mhm.
down, I think, as well. Even if it's loud, it probably calms her down from maybe a day at school,
Mhm.
or just that's her fun, that's her hobby. But for you, you kind of think maybe let this go on for a little bit, and then when it's enough, I can't take this anymore, I'll turn it
Yeah,
off.
you get it. That's
Yeah.
that's exactly how it is. And it's the same with the touch that you mentioned as well. Like she loves to keep her hugs. She loves to give hugs. Like really, she likes really tight, warm, hugs. But then again, it has to be on her own terms. So she doesn't like random touches or just anybody hugging her. So, and you need to understand it to be able to know why. Like, how can a child that really loves to give hugs also not like to receive hugs? So it always has to be on her own terms. So and so it takes understanding how these things can be, and for the person to be able to not get offended, or to be able to understand that, okay, they don't like that or they like this and it's fine.
Yeah, that's it. Like everyone like has different ways around things, and like some people who don't understand autism will not understand. They'll thinking that noise is loud to wind someone up, and not
Mm,
realize like she may not realize that you don't like it loud, or
mhm,
like it's just loud because it's really like that, and like maybe not understanding your thought on it, or something like that. But yeah, like people learn, like you say, like it's something she likes. like music. I think everyone likes music. Rather a sing song
Mhm.
now and then.
That's right. I mean, I like music as well. I mean, as much as I've said that I have very high sensitivity to noise, but if it is a song that I like, then it's, I mean, the volume goes really, 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 really high. And like you said, somebody could be like, oh, I mean, sometimes even my husband says that he'll be like, wait a minute, like if I'm just listening to something on my phone, you are literally screaming that I should turn it down, and you are listening to music this loud, like make it make sense. You understand?
Yeah. Yeah. Have you ever been in a situation where you're like doing something, like maybe on a phone call to someone, and then this blast of music comes out? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Is that the only thing that like happens? Like, is there anything else that she does that as well as listening to music?
Oh, well, of course, she loves music. She loves to draw. She's
Yeah.
quite good at sketching. She sketches quite well. She
Okay.
loves to paint. She likes painting as well. I mean, it can be messy, but we let her do it anyway because it's something she's really quite good at. Um, like I don't know if you see this painting
Oh
behind
yeah.
my head here.
Oh yeah. I see
Yes,
it.
that's she did that. Mhm.
Oh.
So she loves to paint. She loves to draw. She likes to sketch. She loves to, well, she can actually hyper focus on certain things. Like there was a time she was really learning about countries. So if you showed her almost any flag, she can tell you what country it is and the capital of the country. And sometimes she can also even tell you the continent that the country is in.
That's
So
that's very good.
like that's
Yeah.
yeah, so if she really has interest in something, she's going all out to really, really learn about it, which I think is a good thing.
Yeah.
So yes, which is it's a good thing that and she also, and it's interesting, because as much as I've said that we've had the issue of communication where she didn't speak much, she still doesn't speak much, but she started to read before she was 3. Like she could read
Yeah.
quite, like she can read really well. Although I can't say that she understands everything that she's reading, but she reads quite well. Even a couple of long words, she's able to read them. And which is a good, it's a good thing. So reading and also writing as well. Like if you tell her a word, she would write it out. It doesn't mean she understands it, but she writes it out. She likes to read. So those were some of the also the early things that she did quite well. And it was always hard to understand, like, oh, she can read very well, but she can't use these words to communicate. So
Yeah.
that's another thing. So she has a couple of really good things that
Yeah.
she does
Yeah. So that's
quite
really
well.
good. Like on the flags. Um.
Mm,
Like I like for example, when it was the Euros, I think at the European Championships. I saw outside, I think, of a restaurant. There was like flags there, and that's my dad. I'm gonna name every single one of them. See if you can as well. And then I named every one of them, and like he couldn't. Yeah, it's something I like to do as well. Like I'm good of, I
wow.
suppose, if I'm interested in something, I will memorize it and talk about it. Even if someone doesn't is not possibly interested in what I'm saying, um,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
or like a TV show I like, or I'll talk about someone that maybe thinks maybe you're over obsessed about something when you're not. It's just something you really like to do. And it comes part of being
mm,
autism, I think. Like you like to do something and maybe talk about it a bit more often than you wouldn't go off it and just fixate on that and really enjoy it. But yeah, that's great about the flag and the continents as well. That's even better than, like, all the countries, and then what continent they're from, where they are. So yeah, that's really interesting,
yes.
because even though she's
Mm,
7, all these skills will lead up to something in the future, like music maybe. She really interested
mm-hmm,
in music. You've got the flags. You've got, even part of the
mm-hmm,
flags. You've got the talking 3 languages, which could possibly
yes.
in the future lead,
Mm,
lead to maybe more languages as well. So that's great, because I can, like I said before, I can directly, of course I can speak English. I'm English. But other countries, not so much, which going on holiday is probably not helpful for them, even though they will know English. But learning bits and bobs of other countries is nice to know. So kind of speaking in the same language as each other. Yeah, which is great. But yeah, it's good that like you've done like you've been on the ball and stuff, which it doesn't stop, does it? Like being a parent of a person that's autistic, it doesn't just stop when you're diagnosed. It continues like as they get older.
Yes, it does. It continues, and I think, and I just say maybe what then happens is, each stage comes with its own need. I don't want to say maybe challenge, but as she grows older, maybe some of the challenges that she's having now would, of course, not necessarily be there anymore. But then there might be other things to deal with at that age. So just like every child, each stage of your life comes with its own needs or support that you need, even as a person, naturally. So I can only believe that. That's why I've just learned to take it a day at a time and deal with one thing that she needs support with per time. Like, so not to worry way too much about the future, because I also don't want to, I just try to balance my expectations. Like I don't under expect, so that I do not overlook some of the things that she's very good at. And at the same time, I do not over expect, so that I don't put pressure on her to quickly be able to do the things that she's not quite ready to do at the time. So that's one of the things that I personally have tried to do. And of course, there is also that thing of trying to balance her relationship with her sister as well, because that's also very important. Her sister loves to be in her space a lot. So there's that thing of also trying to, get her to have that relationship with her sister.
Yeah. Is her sister the same age or a similar age?
No, she's younger. She's 2.
Oh, she's younger. Yeah. So yeah, that's always good. Like she's like she's like hanging with her like at home, like sisters do. So yeah, that's good. Like she's got that like support at home, and like supporting her sister as well, and yeah, it's really good.
It is. It is.
Yeah. And yeah, with the art as well, I think it's great. I can see the picture. So yeah, I actually did an art last year at school, like an exam, and like you have to be very patient because it was 2 days long. It was and for the art, I was going in there clueless what I'm doing, because you have to pick something to draw. Of course, plan beforehand and everything, but when you're actually sitting there with everyone's got to be quiet. You can't move. If you drop a pencil, if someone looks at you.
Yeah.
And then I was actually quite impressed with how it gets finished, actually, and it was on a canvas. And yeah, I was impressed, because I have always liked drawing, but I didn't think I would do something like that, and I did quite well. I thought it's 2 days straight, quiet, and then yeah, it came out good. So yeah, it is like another thing there is that she's interested in doing that, and like you got it on the wall. So yeah, so yeah, like good thing of art, you can draw what you want, maybe how you're feeling. Yeah, it's very good, and it takes a lot of time though, and lots of concentration.
It does. It does. And she's, she's also quite detailed. I was telling, who was it? One of my friends about, the daycare that she attended is the one that her sister is now. And the other day I went there, and someone who works at the daycare was asking me, "Oh, how is she doing? Now that she's at school." And I'm, "Oh, she's good." And then the lady was saying to me that I have a picture in my house that she drew of me while she was still here at the daycare. So that's how far, I mean, how long she's been drawing and sketching. And the lady was saying to me, that drawing is so dear to me because, she drew my hair just the way I, hold it up in a bun.
Yeah.
And then she drew, because she said, that she has this stuff. She pushes like a cart in the daycare to distribute stuff. That she drew her pushing the cart, and so she basically drew her like how she is at work. And like she said, oh, the drawing is so dear to her because it just shows that although everybody sees her as the child that isn't paying attention to everyone else, but she actually is detailed. So she's seeing everything, even though she isn't quite, acting like she's involved in everything. So which is a good thing.
Yeah, it's always good to get involved with different things, like you might have clubs at school or at different places. It's always good to get involved. Even though I don't know if she doesn't, if she does or she doesn't find it hard, but it's very good to get involved with different things because it keeps you occupied. It's always good to be occupied, isn't it?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Before we finish, is there any questions that you have for me about autism or anything?
Okay, well, maybe one thing I would just want to ask you is that, but how has the journey been for you now as an adult compared with when you were a child?
It has improved because I was at primary. I like went to normal primary school, and then after that I went to mainstream for a year, a mainstream school, and then I left because they weren't understanding. I wasn't confident. Like I didn't like having autism at that particular point, and they all say they understand. Like if I'm saying I'm doing fine, of course they're going to say that. They wouldn't come over to me if I was saying I was doing fine. They wouldn't recognise I wasn't doing fine. So they wasn't very supportive. So lots of pressure there, and I get asked every time on the way home, or so I've had a good day, and I get annoyed sometimes because I never had a good day there. But that's in like year 7, like one of the first years, and then after that I did go to a special school, which is pretty hard to get into. But yeah, I went in there. I grew my confidence the years I was there. So there till year 11, and then after that I go to mainstream. No, actually I didn't, because part of that special school there was a college attached afterwards was made, and I went there and I did like it, but I wanted something because I'm more confident there. I was more like that. The special school did help me to gain my confidence and talk to different people, and people look up to me, which is nice. And I went to college, and some people were there and knew, so I kind of want to go to mainstream again because I gained my confidence. I know if I'm not happy to say it, if I need help, I will ask now. And yeah, I went there, and then I left to go to another one at some point, which yeah, I left because yeah, I left there, and now I'm at a different one. But yeah, it's good. Like it's been a tough journey, I suppose, from getting diagnosed and not accepting it at first, and thinking, well, I've got autism, makes me dumb, I'm fit. Um, but yeah, like I realised I'm not, and I can do different things that I want to do, and yeah, I think it's been different. It'll be different to other people. Some people do have similar experiences to me. Some people cope okay in mainstream. All depends on the person, I think. But for me, I did struggle to ask for help. And actually, I went on a work experience part of a course I was on once, and I went to this place, and they didn't know about autism, and I explained it to them, and it was nice. It wasn't nice that they didn't know about it, but I explained it to them, and they had a better understanding of it. So they changed their kind of place there for people with autism and chronic illnesses as well. So yeah, it's great. Doing better now than it was originally.
Well, that's good. That's a very good one. Thanks for sharing. So
Yeah.
you've gotten to that point now that yes, you have fully accepted yourself and you're being true to yourself.
yeah, like learned that it's not bad, not a bad thing. I know
Mm.
people will judge, but don't really care anymore. Don't care. They have their opinions, I have mine. Um,
Mm.
that's how the world works. So kind of focus on yourself, on what you're doing, and people you live with, and always care about your friends and that. But if people don't understand, just don't talk to them or don't have them in your life.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right. Thanks for
yeah.
sharing that with me.
Yeah, it's been great. It's been great hearing about like your daughter and like how you've been with that. And yeah, it's been really nice to talk to you.
Same here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.